Bye! Oh, ho, 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 ho. My name is Quinlan, and this is the Kakamami intro to Melbourne Musos Live. Get it? Got it?
Yeah, got it. Good.
I might as well get that off the bat straight away. How are you all? Oh my Lord, what a week, what a week, what a week. All right, name that beat. One of the things that happens is when you're asked to play a gig for a mate of yours, and all of a sudden they send you the set list for the upcoming aforementioned gig, and you've got to learn up 30 songs for 3 sets in about 2 weeks. What are you going to do besides panic? Okay, I don't know these songs. They're quirky songs, you know. Ready, Steve? And yeah. All right, fellas, let's go. What's that? What's the name of it? What's the name of the beat? You can't sit there. You got 33 songs, something like. Oh, that's what I got. 33 songs. Okay. Let me give you the lowdown. This is for just to reinforce what most people know, but for those who don't know, let me explain it. What happens is when you do a gig, usually if you're a typical cover band gig, you've got 3 sets, and each set is usually around about 10 songs long, because essentially with a 1 hour, okay, you're on for 40 to 45 minutes, and then you have a 15-minute break, and then you're back on for the second set. Now, if you do 10 songs at roughly 4 minutes each, well, there's your 40 minutes with a little bit of repartee from the lead vocalist and all that. You know, he provides a bit of luxury. And what goes on is that, in joke. And what happens? Oh, hang on. All right, you need to know your boom tish. You need to know your beats, you know, that kind of thing. So what happens is that you need to find, I could easily say a shortcut, but it really is just know your craft. That's what it is. You know, it's not shortcuts per se or whatever it is. You just need to know what it is, you know. You need to know the difference. If you're a tradie, you need to know the difference between a hammer and a spanner. Do you see what I mean? What was that? What's the name of it? Cut time. All right. So here we go. Now, with the plethora, do you like that word? Plethora. It's almost as bad as moist, you know. Gagging. Okay. But what happens is, know your beats. The plethora of quiz shows. They're everywhere. Do they take us for mugs? I mean, honestly, come on. Anyway, did I just shout? Oh, dear me. Anyway, what happens? What's this? And it's a rock beat. What's the big thing about this? It's a backbeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then the bass drum is put in depending on what the song is or what maybe the bass line is. Do you see? You could have boom. You see? There's that. What's this? Four on the floor. What's this? A twist. Okay. Now, I'll just stop there for a second. They're three big ones. Get to know your stuff. Basic rock beat with the backbeat. It's got a backbeat. You can't lose it if you want to dance with me. All that stuff goes back time immemorial. So what that is that it's the 2 and 4. Good solid 2 and 4. That gets everyone up dancing. When you're dealing with a 4 on the floor, that's your 80s rock. That's all your big... Back to jazz. It's the most used thing. I mean, even in marching. It's just there. Jazz. So on it goes. Twist. Now they're all beats, but what happens if you move the beat around? Here is the next one. Oh. What did I just do to the beat besides butcher it? I syncopated it. My wonderful students call it syncopation. Anything when you accent the normally unaccented beat, do you see? So you get that kind of... Dance to that. There you go. Syncopation. Now, when you're doing a gig and you've got 30 songs to learn up rather fast and all that, you can't be mucking around too much, sort of going, does he put it on there or whatever or there? What usually happens is that when you get a song, you might print out the lyric sheet. You don't want to write out the whole thing. That's great, don't get me wrong, but what happens is that when you buy books like The Drum Techniques of Led Zeppelin or whatever it might be, and it's got every note written out, great, that's brilliant. Just don't take it on a gig. Otherwise you'll just get locked down. You've just got to have it up here. You just got to know. And what happens is I often get asked, what's more important? Is the groove more important or all the little in-between bits? Well, both are deadly important, but at the end of the day, if you're a pinch hitter just coming in to help, your mate out, all that sort of biz. What happens is the first thing, if you're in any kind of, geez, I just didn't have time to do it properly, whatever. Just get the groove at the right time. Get to know your metronome. Take it along with you so you have an accurate time, that kind of business. And there are apps out there. I use the Tempo app. I don't get paid to plug it, but what it is it's got a little set list function. So you set up the metronomic time for the version that you're doing, and then what happens is you can press the little button, put in the name of the tune and put it into the set list. Then you can set your set list for the metronome on the phone up, and then after every song, while the lead vocalist going, "Thank you, that was luxury," and Mr. King, and look at my boots, I just bought them. They're very snazzy. I like them. And what happens is that, meanwhile, you're up the back, the rhythm section's up the back, going tick, 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 tick. And to do the first time I saw it was through Steve Gadd. There's Paul Simon up the front going, and this is from Graceland, and up the back you just saw one Steve Gadd just doing that. And the whole band is just locking in on one Mr. Steve Gadd, just getting the tempo correct. And so there's no kind of rushing at the beginning. the first 4 bars are a mess until you settle in. You've got it 1, 2, 3, 4, and do there you go. You see. So what's this one? What we've got now is a kind of a grouping. Nice grouping.
Nice grouping.
And what happens is, what's this? It is a halftime. What's that? It is a normal time. What's this? Cut time. There you go. I hope you got it. How's your score going at the moment? And then what goes on is that what happens is, do you notice that with that, constant speed, 1 and 2, 1, 3 and 4, and essentially it's really in the most simplest of ways, slow, medium and fast. Halftime. Normal rock beat. Cut time. Yep. Oh, there you go, 3 speeds, but all with the same tempo, if you know what I mean. There you go. Now, talking about cut time, what's this? That's alright, mama. That's alright, you. Blitz. Train beat. Ka-ching. There you go. Train beat. Now, why am I doing this kind of a show? The reason being is when you are in the cover band scene and you're trying to make, ends meet, being just a workaday musician. Let's face it, we all love our John Bonhams, we all love our Ian Paces, we love our Keith Moons and all that. But let's face it, they won Tats Lotto, okay? I often quote John Bonham in the sense that he's one of the most revered, at least on this show, one of the most mentioned drummers, most loved, even though he's a bit of a boost on and all that kind of stuff. But forgiving him for that, just loved and all that. Name another band he was in. Oh, Crickets. Now, he was in other stuff. Someone's going to come at me. Oh, wasn't he in that Paul McCartney thing? Yes, but only because after he was in Led Zeppelin. And, oh, wasn't he in Band of Joy with Robert Plant? Yeah, the local pub band. Okay. Yeah, you win Tats Lotto. There are certain musos out there we love and adore, and they only play with one band. Now, that's the Tats Lotto way of making a living, right? You just win Tats Lotto. You catch a break, that kind of thing, which is wonderful. We've all caught breaks, I hope. I know I have, and I thank everyone that has given me one. I've mentioned them on the show so often, and I don't forget them. And what it is for the rest of us mere minions and mortals, what happens is we just have to know our beats. And we'll have this gig, and we've got to learn our 30 songs. And then someone will ring up and say, we've got this wedding reception, okay, and our drummer's off on a holiday. Can you just fill in for like 2 gigs? And it's this amount of money. You get your free dinner. Wedding receptions are great, by the way. And you get paid the right way, hopefully. But here's our songs. No rehearsal, but what comes up is that you end up at the gig. Hi fellas, How you all going? What's our first tune? Oh, it's this little thing. It's a bossa nova. Okay, I'll count you in, Chris. No worries. How's the schnitzel? Would you like the beef or chicken? Thank you very much for being a part of 501 Receptions in Footscray. And here we go. What was that beat? Bossa Nova. How about... Oh, there's this one. Oh, you got to know your cha-cha-cha. All right. What was that one? Rumba! Oh, do you know your beats? That's what this show is all about here. Okay. Now, one of the things about when you are playing, I've given you a whole number of beats at the moment, but one of the things that you got to make sure of, you see, when I wrote the original ANSCA drum set syllabus back in the mid-90s, the original one, not the butchered one, the original one, is that I found, funnily enough, especially with the guitar syllabus, which I had a hand in revising, there was a little bit of a mosh pit in there for a while, it's like that. But what I found was, and with all respect, you've got your list pieces for an examination, list A, list B, list C. And sometimes with the cards that the teachers are dealt with, you've got to try and get the kidlets through the exam in one piece. And no, that's not worth a boom tish, but anyway, given, whatever. But what goes on is that every now and again I'd find a student who'd do the same thing for three pieces, even though they're different songs. You see, oh, list A is this song. Oh, not even that. List B. List C. It's the same beat three times, but three different songs. That's great. However, if you're going to get into trying to be a little bit more versatile, is that one of the things that I tried to do when I got given the job to write a drum set syllabus, is that you can't get away with just playing the same beat over and over again. What you want when you're in a band is you want a good rock beat. Rim shot or not. But what happens is the next thing you want is this. What's that? Known by a couple of names. And what are the couple of names? 12/8 blues beat. It could be a 6/8 blues beat. When it was first written out for me by old Harold, it was the triplet blues beat. So you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all fine, just as long as your band members are counting the same beat as you are. There you go. Now, what begets a blues beat? This is the third main thing you need to be in a good, solid little cover band. What's that called? A shuffle. Yes, you got it right, I hope. And what happens is there it is. Now, these are beats you need to know. Now, when you're getting into the 50s kind of stuff, okay, what starts to happen is that in the 50s, when rock and roll was starting out with 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock, and so on, it goes like that. What it was this. What's that? That is a 4 on the floor jazz, right? That's a jazz 4, you see. And then what goes on, it basically got brought into all your early stuff, like Bill Haley and the Comets, early Elvis, all that sort of business. And then what started to happen there is that you had your 4-feel jazz. And then what would also happen is this. I'll slow it down actually. What's that called? It's called a 2-feel. Boom, boom, boom. And that's called a shit fill. Okay, so lucky fill. And what goes on there is that's that kind of thing. So that comes out of jazz, early 50s. Early 50s rock and roll came out of jazz of the 40s. And so you've got two main feels. You've got the 2-feel, and then you've got the 4-feel. What you also have is this. What's that? 2 names. A Latin bass drum or a samba bass drum for some. Dance to that. Oh, there you go. And there's all that. Now, what happens? How are you going so far? How's your score? Do you have the little blank piece of paper and you're going tick, 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 cross, tick, tick, cross, cross, whatever it is, or is it just tick, 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 tick? Fantastic. What goes on then is that seeing I'm talking about 50s rock and roll, I'm going to give you this one for free. When you're talking about people like Little Richard, you keep a knocking but you can't come in, bum, 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 and Earl Palmer and people like that. The original rock beat used to be played both-handed. Hence, rock and roll by the aforementioned John Henry Bonham. There you go. Been a long time since I rock and rolled. What was he talking about? He's actually talking about people like Earl Palmer and the people he grew up with to be able to play something wonderful like Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll on the 4th album. There it is there. Now I better get a bit of a wriggle on. I'm there already pretty much. But what starts to go on is that then you've got certain things like this. So, what's this one? Three-two clave. You can also call it a second line New Orleans rhythm if you put it here. So on it goes like that. If you're going to do it here, desire. Now, if you're going back to the premise of you're being asked to jump into a cover band situation and you've got to play a tune like that and you've got to sit down and you don't know that it's a 3-2 clave, that kind of thing, and you've got to go, where does he put the accent? There, I got to listen to it again. There. Hello, hammer or a spanner? Which one do you pick up? It's a 3-2 clave. Write it down, the whole thing, straight through, bang, go. There it is. Boom, boom, boom. Sometime there. Practical. It's just practical, you see. So there it is there. You can also have the reverse. I'll give you that one for free. Ooh, ba, ba, boom, ba, 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 ba. Reverse clave. Now, what happens is that when you are doing things like wedding receptions, there's a lot of what? The waltz. What kinds of waltz? Chim chimney. Oh, pummy. What's that one called? It's a Palmer waltz. Harry Palmer and his 5-fingered friends. Anyway, doesn't matter. I might cut that bit out. Anyway, I got pulled up on that because the thing is there's the Palmer waltz, which is 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. Then you got the modern waltz. These are a few of my favourite things. Especially in if you're doing kind of wedding receptions and you've got the whole gamut of the kids. You're going to need to know your you're going to need to know bus stop. You need to know your nut bush, and you're going to need to know the difference between a Palmer waltz and a modern waltz because the dance steps are different. For the oldies, all the grandpas and grandmas who are still kicking it up in their 80s. And then you got the jazz waltz. So, wrapping up the show, this is very practical. What are you going to do when you get a cover band gig and you've got to learn up 30 songs in a week or two for the big gig and you don't want to let the team down? What are you going to do? You need to know your beats, and that's my show tonight. My name's Quinlan. Hope you got something out of the show. And I'll have this up very soon. And now it's time for a nice glass of